We're just a little over a month away from the 2023 Daytona 500, meaning the start of the official NASCAR season. Yes, we have the preseason race, the Clash at the Coliseum, but the Daytona 500 always kicking off the regular season, the biggest race in NASCAR. Even sometimes you see some of the biggest names in motorsports. We're going to talk about some of those names today, some of the guys who are going to be in the Daytona 500, or some of the teams that we're going to have a car, maybe not. And I want to start out with Trackhouse. Trackhouse Racing has two full-time cars with Ross Chastain in the 1 and Daniel Suarez in the 99 car. But last year, if you remember, around May, they announced that they would have a Project 91 car, which would be a third part-time car that would have international superstars in the car. The first one, of course, was Kimi Räikkönen, Formula One champion, who stepped in the car, and Watkins Glen unfortunately crashed out of that race, but had spent a little bit of time in the top 10 in that race. So it looked like they were going to focus on road courses, obviously, if they're going to bring in international drivers who have primarily done road courses, but maybe attempt the Daytona 500 or another big oval race. But who would do it? One option was Helio Castroneves. He's won 4 Indianapolis 500s, and he has expressed his interest in running the Daytona 500. But the question is, would they get him in? Well, there's some clarity on the Project 91 car in the Daytona 500. And it's that it will not be racing. Justin Marks said today, "We took a hard look at the Daytona 500 with Project 91, but at the end of the day, decided to focus on the road courses and the 1 and 99 at Daytona. We have some exciting Project 91 stuff being finalized." So obviously, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means they're in talks with drivers or maybe have something even signed at this point for the road courses. Remember, that first road course is in March at COTA. So just a couple of months away, really, until we have our first road course. Who would be in that Project 91 seat? Could it be, a Daniel Ricciardo, a guy who's not running F1 full-time anymore? He's a reserve driver. Could it be someone who's retired? Could it be someone like we're about to talk about next? Could it be a Travis Pastrana or someone like that? Who could we see in that Project 91 car? I'm not sure. But it's still a fun idea. Really fun concept. Enjoyed watching Kimi Räikkönen at Watkins Glen last year. Excited to see who they get in that car in the following years, I guess, if this is going to be a multi-year project. And I did mention Castroneves. He is still looking for a Daytona 500 ride, but it looks like, obviously, Trackhouse is out of the equation, but maybe the Money Team. The Money Team is co-owned by Floyd Mayweather, or his Money Team brand. Could he join that car? Bob Pocker said that Castroneves is still a maybe for the Daytona 500, but if it were to happen, it would be expected to be with the Money Team, but it's still not 100% yet. I don't know if the Money Team just doesn't have the funding, they don't have the supplies, whatever it may be, but of course they ran part-time last year, ran at some of the road courses, ran at some of the super speedways, I believe, so the Money Team has made a few starts before. Could Castroneves go to the Money Team? Would he want to be in a more competitive car? What would he want to do? It's depending on what he wants. I'm assuming a high-profile driver like him, I would guess that he wants to be in a pretty competitive car. I'm sure he tried to get into the Trackhouse car, but we'll see. We'll see where he ends up. Next is Travis Pastrana. Of course, on Saturday, the reports were broken that Travis Pastrana would be entering with 2311 Racing to drive in the Daytona 500 in their third car. It would be an open car, so no guarantee into the Daytona 500. He would have to race his way in or qualify his way in. But, what number would he be? What kind of stuff like that? Well, we now know, because it was officially announced today by 2311 Racing, he's going to be in the number 67. He's going to have sponsorship from Black Rifle Coffee Company. I believe they've been in NASCAR before. I think they were with Ty Dillon last year, I want to say. But yes, they will be with Travis Pastrana on the 67 Toyota Camry. He will be in an open car for the Daytona 500. Here's what he had to say. "I'm thrilled at the chance to race in the Daytona 500. It's the one event every year that all my friends and family come together to watch at our buddy Dale's house, and it's an event I've wanted to race my entire life. My first Supercross win came at Daytona when I was 16 years old, and I qualified third at Daytona for the Xfinity Series in 2013. That race didn't end up well, but I was able to finish 10th despite the fact I crossed the finish line backward through the infield grass at 180 miles per hour. Trying to earn one of the very few remaining spots in qualifying for the biggest race I've ever had the opportunity to compete in will not be an easy task, but I'm confident that the 2311 team will give me a car that belongs in the show and truly believe I have the skills to get it there. It was important for me to put my best foot forward, and I'm happy to undertake this endeavor with the 2311 Toyota team. They are always competitive at super speedway, so I know we will be strong when we get to Daytona. All my friends, family, and long-lost relatives plan to be there, and I'm looking forward to sharing the moment with all my fans and my partners at Black Rifle Company too. So yeah, there's your quote from him. So yeah, there's going to be quite the list of cars in the open category for the Daytona 500. Remember, 36 spots are locked in because of the charter system. If you're a charter, that means you have to run every single race, every single event, but you are locked into every single event. So, you know, you think of the big teams, Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, but also some of the smaller teams like Rick Ware Racing. They are full-time. They are in the charter. They are guaranteed spots in the field, whereas some of these extra cars added on by teams like the 67 with 2311, the 84 with Legacy Motor Club, those cars, as competitive as they could be, they are not locked in a spot for the Daytona 500. So, you know, Travis Pastrana, Jimmy Johnson are going to have to race their way in or qualify their way in. I believe it's 2 qualifiers, 2 on speed, and the 2 highest finishers in the duel. So Johnson's not locked in. Pastrana's not locked in. If castroneves were to qualify with the money team, I don't think he would be locked in. And then, you know, that's not even thinking about a team Hesselberg. Would they bring Jacques Villeneuve back? Would he be qualified? Would MBM potentially come back? Would the New York Racing or NY Racing, what are they called? NY Racing, would they come in with Greg Biffle maybe? There's a lot of questions still to be answered. Some of them have been answered this week with Jimmy Johnson, with Travis Pastrana. Castroneves is still a question mark, but there could be more names that we don't know, like if Villeneuve were to come back. But there's also some team questions. As I said, Hesselberg as a whole, will they bring Loris Hezemans back for the Daytona 500? I don't know what their plan is, but this is just an update on some of the entries. 2311 will have an extra entry. The Legacy Motor Club will have an extra entry. And that is all I know for the Daytona 500 entry list so far. And then we've got our charted teams. But yeah, so that's what I know about some of these open cars, these open seats. We've got some big names in the Daytona 500 like Travis Pastrana, like Jimmy Johnson, and we could potentially have more. So it'll be an interesting and fun Daytona 500 as always. Looking forward to kicking off the 75th season of NASCAR. Let me know your thoughts on some of these drivers, if they're going to do good in the Daytona 500, do bad, who you want to see in the Daytona 500 that may not be mentioned, even if it's not a possibility. But yeah, just wanted to give you that update. So thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.